Mass killings linked to ideological extremism has spiked in the United States over the last decade, and that's according to a new report that was published by the Anti-Defamation League. Now, white supremacist ideology happens to be playing a bigger role overall when it comes to this spike in extremist killings, which is pretty terrifying, and I have a theory as to why it's happening. But first, let's give you the details. The researchers here found that the number of US mass killings tied to extremism was at least 3 times higher in the past 10 years than the total from any other 10-year period since the 1970s, okay? So there's clearly a spike, and I think we can notice it in the headlines and the stories that are covered on the show. So let's take a look at this graph that kind of helps you visualize it a little better. So from the 1970s through the 2000s, extremist mass killing incidents were consistently pretty low, from 2 to 7 incidents a decade. However, in the 2010s, the number of mass killing incidents actually skyrocketed to 21. In 2021 and 2022, there have already been 5 incidents, as many as there were during the whole decade of 2001 to 2010. So this is not good. I've got more details from the report for you. But Cenk, I have a theory as to why there's been such a spike over the last decade.
Okay, I'm curious what your theory is, because the answer is obvious. There's 120 guns for every 100 people in America, but give me the nuance on your theory.
But just having a gun, having possession of a gun doesn't automatically mean that you're gonna shoot people with it, right?
A certain percentage.
Okay,
but yeah.
So I think that there's something going on. Look, the conditions that Americans are living in get worse every single year. Every year it gets worse, okay? Yeah. At the same time, on the right, you have this entire media infrastructure that it's a chorus of people who are constantly blaming the heartache, the suffering that Americans are facing or dealing with on the others, or on whatever scapegoat they want to point to, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's the immigrants, transgender people, black people, I mean, you name it. That's all you hear in right-wing media. So on one hand, you have people who are kind of primed to be radicalized in that way because of what they're experiencing in their personal lives. And they're being misdirected by the chorus of right-wing media, blaming their troubles on various powerless groups of people. I think that's what's happening.
That's definitely true. Great theory. And guys, here's a trip, because since Muslims feel like the others, we never talk about it in this context. But why do you think Muslim terrorists do what they do? It's because they were told by their right-wing media that we're the bad guys, Americans are the bad guys. The problem isn't Muslim leaders, it's the others. Except in this case, America is the others. Mm-hmm. And I did a story on this and pulled together a lot of different sources and showed that unfortunately, the way that some portion of the Islamic world got radicalized was through media. It was media that the Saudis and the Americans funded to radicalize Muslims, partly to radicalize Afghans to fight back against Russia a long time ago in that war. And so their right-wing media were like, it's America's fault, it's America's fault, it's the West's fault, go bomb them, go bomb them. And it worked. And here in America, we have right-wing media doing the same thing, but instead, they're pointing it internally instead of externally. Now, it's external to them, they're saying white people are the good people, right? It's black people and brown people and gay people, etc. And look at that, there's shootings at gay nightclubs and at Jewish temples and
at synagogues
and a black store and a black church, etc. Because they were told those are your problems. It's inside the country, but they feel like it's outside their wagons because those are the others, and they go attack them. And they've got the tools right there because they all have guns.
Now, between 2010 and 2020, 164 people died in ideological, extremist-related mass killings, according to the report. That's much more than in any other decade except the 1990s, when the bombing of a federal building in Oklahoma City killed 168 people.
Also, by the way, by a right-wing extremist.
Right, exactly. And in addition to this increase in the number of incidents, the dominant ideological drivers have changed over time as well. So let's take a look at this interactive map because it's gonna help you kind of see what's going on here. So the red dots are Islamic extremists, blue are left wing, and purple are right wing. Now, during the past 12 years, right-wing extremists have conducted the most mass killings, totaling 16 of the 26 incidents, so 61.5%, and 89 of the 186 deaths, 47.8%. Now, the majority of the attacks by right-wing extremists were committed by white supremacists, typically targeting minorities, killing 71 people in that time period.
And in 2022, every single extremist attack was by the right wing. And so look, guys, in the old days, were there left-wing extremists? Absolutely. So there's been, animal rights activists, there's been environmental activists, there's been, the Black Panthers did a lot of positive things, but they also had some wing that was extremist. And by the way, my family got chased out of Turkey by left-wing extremists. So of course you could have left-wing extremists. But recently in America, that hasn't been the case at all, okay? And the numbers are stark. It's not close. It's all right-wing extremists now. And partly because it goes back to media. Who's egging on people to do what? Remember the Rwandan genocide? Well, that was driven by radio, where they were telling them, go attack the others, and people listened to them. Left-wing media in this country is, well, you're looking at it, and a couple of other smaller outlets, right? And we constantly tell you guys, don't do anything physical. If you do anything physical, that means you're not a progressive, etc. Right? Right-wing media is much larger. They've got Fox News and a bunch of other places, and they're constantly telling you, remember your Second Amendment rights. You gotta fight against government tyranny. You know who's destroying this country? The wokeness is, and critical race theory is, and trans kids are. They're destroying it, destroying it, destroying it. Aren't you gonna do anything with your Second Amendment rights? And then lo and behold, people are like, oh yeah, there's guns everywhere. I'll pick one up and I'll attack the people they told me to attack. It's not at all complicated. The only reason why you have a debate over it is because then right-wing media after the fact will come in and go, how dare you blame us? Don't believe your lying eyes. That's outrageous to blame us. Now go attack them again.
And look, I don't think that there's anything that can be done about right-wing media, honestly. Like, what are you gonna do? There's nothing you can do about it. But in terms of what the left could control, can control, and when I say left, I don't just mean leftists. Leftists have no power in this country. Mostly mean Democrats, right? They like to point to these issues, certainly at least pretend to be concerned about it, right? Maybe they are concerned about it. But the only thing that Democrats can do is actually change the material conditions that allow for people to be radicalized with this extremist ideology. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, look, Democrats don't even fight back effectively. I mean, they fight back on identity politics and make a mess of it.
Absolutely.
And then it divides us even further. But they never get to the core of any of these issues.
Exactly.
So for example, on gun regulation, they even try to pretend that Biden did historic gun reform. They passed like the weakest things. I don't even remember, they were so weak, they floated away in a cloud. It was so weak, that was the only time I've ever seen mainstream media not call it historic. Biden tried to call it historic, and I think even the reporters were like, I just can't write it down. This is really historic, right? So the Democrats do almost nothing, and whereas the right-wing media and right-wing politicians come out super strong and bulldoze everyone, and it leads to these results. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR, so those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.